is going ballistic, and why not?
Those who chose to share the dream with the 1997-98 version of the Erie Otters experienced an exciting season that truly spanned the complete gamut of emotions. A promising start for the Otters began to slowly whittle away as the opening half of the OHL schedule worked its way through September, October, and November. By the midway point of December, when travel, practice, and games begin to mount on the minds of those thrust into battle, the Otters saw their record sink to the .500 level for the first time since opening night. A myriad of moves in a one-month span brought 7 new faces into the Otters' fold. Steve Valiquette, Jeff Zare, Paul Harvey, Michael Rupp, Steve Monador, Tyler Rennett, and Derek Watson all found their way to Erie through trades and free agent signings, joining the likes of Colin Pepperall, Shane Nash, Tim Conley, Arvid Rikas, Jeff Paul, Jesse Black, and Jason Robinson into a revamped Erie lineup. Suddenly, the Otters had a new look, bigger and faster up front, combined with a more dedicated approach to team defense. Despite all the moves, time was running out. After all, it was now midway through January, and the Otters were looking up in the standings, 8 games below .500 and just barely ahead of the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds for the 4th and final playoff spot in the West Division, with just 2 months remaining in their schedule. January 23rd, the Otters opened an 8-game homestand with the first of 2 games at the Erie Civic Center against the Sarnia Sting, the team directly ahead of them in the Western Division. It was no secret, with an 18-26-2 record, the 66-game schedule had been reduced to a 2-week stretch of games that for all intents and purposes would define the 97-98 version of the Erie Otters. What happened next was unthinkable, unbelievable, even incredible. Back-to-back victories over the Sting got things rolling in the right direction.
Rikas back to Rennett. Rennett slides it over. Here's Conley on the backhand. Scores! Tim Conley works to the slot and tucks her home. It's 11 straight with a point for the rookie.
Then came a narrow victory over the top-ranked Guelph Storm and a lopsided triumph over the Oshawa Generals. Halfway through the homestand, and the Otters were a perfect 4-0. Ties against Sault Ste. Marie and the Peterborough Petes were sandwiched between a win over the Toronto St. Michael's Majors, undefeated in 7, with the best yet to come. The Otters completed the homestand without a loss. After a rematch with the Storm, owners of the best record in the OHL resulted in a lopsided 5-0 victory. The OHL began talking, and the teams above in the West Division standings, Sarnia, the Plymouth Whalers, and the London Knights, started looking in their rearview mirrors as the revamped Otters began to make up ground at an unprecedented rate. They had gone 11 games without a loss, and the streak mounted. Another win over Kitchener and 2 over the Windsor Spitfires, including one that local hockey historians describe as the most exciting and dramatic comeback victory in Erie history. After pummeling the Spitfires 6-0 the previous night to up their streak to 13 without a loss, the Otters found themselves down 3-1 in the dying moments of play. Brimming with confidence, they refused to lose, scoring twice in the final moments of regulation to force overtime, before capping the excitement with Jeff Zare's memorable game winner. It was the stuff that dreams are made of, a streak of games that featured a different hero firmly affixed to every mounting triumph. It would end at 17 games, 15 wins and 2 ties, allowing the Otters to climb back into the playoff race and signal to the rest of the league that this was a team to be reckoned with in the 1998 OHL playoffs. Not lost in the Otters' streak of 1998, the fifth longest in the history of the Canadian Hockey League, were two individual streaks that coincided with team success. Rookie Tim Connolly strung together 18 games with at least 1 point. In the Big Valley, goaltender Steve Valiquette went undefeated in 16 games. The Erie Otters, who finished fourth in the West Division, face off against the high-flying London Knights, a team that completed the regular season with the third-best record in the league. All the bounces that seemed to be going the Otters' way during that 17-game unbeaten streak were going the other direction in the first 3 games of this series. 3 one-goal games, one in overtime and another in double OT, left the Otters down 3-0 in the best-of-7 series.
And the Knights win this hockey game as Canutt just threw it to the front, and somehow it deflected in behind Steve Valiquette.
The showdown returned to the Erie Civic Center with the odds stacked heavily against the hometown Otters. But there was something about this group of young men who had created a special bond between one another since being solidified on the same roster just after the new year. Somewhere along the way, the Otters developed a resilient attitude, one that simply wouldn't allow them to quit. A 7-0 whitewash of the Knights in Game 4 brought life back into the Otters, a measure of dominating success to reflect on as they attempted to do the unthinkable and rebound from a 3-0 deficit in this series. Another victory in Game 5 at the London Ice House to close the Otters' deficit to 3-2 set the stage for more dramatics in a series that had definitely taken on a nasty tone. Another closely contested battle saw London leading Game 6 3-2 in the late stages of the third period when Jason Baird ripped a shot towards the Knights' net from just over center ice.
Baird getting away from one. Theobald joining the rush. Baird's long dump and score! Unbelievable! Jason Baird from just outside the blue line. The Otters tied at 3. Holy cow!
We were heading into overtime for a third time in this series. Nearing the end of the first OT, 2 rookies combined to send the crowd over the edge and the Otters back around Lake Erie for Game 7. Tim Connolly danced his way out of the London corner and spotted Michael Rupp on the edge of the Knights' crease. A crisp pass right on the tape of Rupp's stick was immediately deposited into the back of the London net, and the celebration began.
Conley's got it again. Here's Conley trying to work away from one and does across. Scores! The Otters have done it. They've come back and hello, London, here we come. They're dancing on Peach Street. Michael Rupp with the game winner, 3:54 in overtime. And hello, Ice House.
Ultimately, the Otters were unable to complete the remarkable comeback, losing 3-2 in the deciding game of the series with a depleted and emotionally drained lineup. However, despite the disappointing conclusion, the Erie Otters' exceptional second half and playoff run created a tremendous amount of excitement for those who chose to share the dream. That optimism is only further enhanced by the recent hiring of new head coach Paul Theriault. A veteran with 11 years of OHL head coaching experience, Theriault provides instant respect behind the bench. Now as 1998-99 approaches, it'll be time for the Otters to take the next step and aim for the best.
Holy cow! Is this a team that won't say no?